before it rolls off, and I'm just going to throw it in the floor. It is so good to have you here with us. If we could, let's all stand. We're going to get right into the word of the Lord. Don't want to take too much of your time up tonight. I was telling Brother Donnie this morning that I struggled putting this one together. Because I didn't actually put it together until yesterday, which is not good. But, I heard an interview with a preacher one time, and he said he put his sermons together like 2 hours before he preached. And that gives me a little bit more confidence now when it's like a day before. Like, okay, I'm not doing too bad, actually. But struggled with this. And then yesterday, that I was putting it together, I seen a clip on Facebook. Facebook is real inspirational sometimes. And this guy was preaching, and it was a little, 30-second clip, and he was preaching about something that I was wanting to talk about tonight. And so I went home and listened to the full sermon. I was writing down stuff. And if you don't get anything out of this sermon tonight, if you don't have to say amen or anything like that, because trust me, this was definitely for me. And now you're just going to get to sit here, and maybe it's for you. If not, I apologize. Come back Wednesday or Sunday, and maybe you can get something then. But this has definitely encouraged me and everything like that. We're going to be going to James 2, and starting with verse 14. And this is a different translation, but they're going to be projecting it for you tonight. And I'm such a long-winded preacher. I like to make sure I start a stopwatch here so I know how long I go. That's a joke, of course. We'll be out in about 10 minutes. I'm just kidding. James 2 and verse 14 says, "What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him?" Now, we could go a totally different way with that, but we're not going to. "If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and is lacking in daily food," I don't think any of us are lacking in daily food tonight, but there are some, "and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, be warmed and filled,' without giving them the things needed for their body, what good is that? What good have you done for them? So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, it is dead. But someone will say, 'You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one. You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless? Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? You see, that faith was active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works." So I want to talk to you tonight about active faith. Active faith. You may be seated in Jesus' name. Thank you for standing. So I have to admit something first off. Actually, let me open this water up. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to open this water up. There's always that awkward pause when a preacher's preaching, and then he goes down for his water, and he has to take it on. I just wanted to get it out of the way. So I am not a healthy eater at all. I blame it on my grandparents because they raised me. But I'm very picky when it comes to eating. I mean, Elise probably has a better diet than I do at this point in my life. Any 9-year-old kid eats better than I do at this point. And, Courtney and my grandparents and people, they've tried to get me to try stuff, but my thing is, I know what I like, so why do I want to try something that I might not like? If I know I like chicken and steak and beef, then why do I want to try some weird meat that I probably won't like? Why do I want to risk that for, right? But, eating, like I said, my eating habits aren't that great. So the first year, me and Courtney got a gym membership at Planet Fitness in Jackson, and one of us kept to it. The other one dropped out a couple months. I'm not naming names. There's only 2 of us, and I was still going last week, so I'll let you figure out who that person was. But anyway, we started going to the gym because I figured if I'm not going to eat right, I might as well make one healthy choice in my life, right? So I started going. And let me tell you, if you want a good story, or if you want a good sermon illustration, or you want a good laugh, go to the gym. Because the people you see there, it is ridiculous. It is just amazing. About a month ago, I was there, and I go late at night, probably around 10 or so, because normally people aren't there when you go after 9:30 or 10. So I was there, about 5 or 6 of us there, and I see these group of teenagers coming in. Normal teenagers, a couple of guys, a couple of girls. They all had their workout gear and stuff on, except this one dude stood out from the rest of them, because he had on a pair of jogging pants that were probably about the size like an XXXXXL, and he was like an XXLS. He was an extra, extra small, and his jogging pants like an extra, extra large. Real baggy, and then he had a tight tank top on, and it was like skinny as a toothpick, so I don't know what he was trying to show off, but real skinny guy, and he came in, and I was like, this is going to be good, you know. So I'm kind of just watching him and the group, and they were walking in, and his friends get on the treadmill, and he just walks right past them. And they were like, where are you going? He was, oh, that's for the girls, you know. He just kept walking. I was okay, you know, he's really about to show out here. Perfect time for me to take a break and watch. So I'm serious, like, I'm not even really lifting. I think I had like a 1 pound weight probably at this point, just sitting there watching him. And he walks over to the most manly weight machine there, and that is the bench press, you know. He sits down. There was already like probably maybe 20 pounds on it. So he sits down. He does a couple, too easy for him. So he gets up, puts like 5 pounds on each side, so it's like 30 pounds now. Too easy for him. So he picks the biggest weights there. Huge. Puts them on each side, and he lifts up, and that thing just comes straight down. And there's safety locks on it, so it catches like 3 inches from his chest. And he's sitting there, he tries to lift it back up, and then he just slides out from under the bell. He steps back like this, he looks at it, takes off all the weights and puts 5 pounds there, does a couple more. And then he ended up going to the treadmill with his friends. It was pretty funny. Pretty funny. And the whole time I'm standing there, you know, trying not to laugh. But in all seriousness, this got me thinking, how many times have we felt like this poor kid in life? How many times, not necessarily working out, but just in life, we take a couple steps forward and boom, it comes crashing down on us. Life gets kind of easy, and then boom, it drops down right on top of us. We get inspired in our faith, gets built up, but yet life seems to kick us down every time. We sit down thinking this is going to be easy, and we lift up, and whatever we're fighting against falls right back down on top of us. You know, we can say things like, I have faith, or I believe, and we sit there waiting for God to do something great, but yet we keep ending up going through the same battles week after week, month after month, and continue to proclaim our faith, but yet nothing changes in our lives. And like I said, I was really struggling putting this message together, and I think I was trying to find a different topic Friday night, honestly, but multiple times throughout Friday, I was taking my Bible down, just flipping through. I'm not super spiritual, so I just don't open my Bible and think whatever it lands on, that's what God wants me to do. But I was just flipping through it, trying to find something to, you know, inspire me for tonight. And as I was flipping through, every time I would see red, and I would stop to see what Jesus was saying, you know, trying to get an idea of what he was talking about. And what I noticed, probably 6-7 times I've done this, every time I see red, I would stop and read it. Every time I would read what Jesus was saying, normally it involved him telling someone to do something. Normally, it involved him calling someone to action, to take a step out. You see, the problem wasn't the weight machine for this poor guy. The problem wasn't the weights. I've seen guys come in there and lift that weight, no problem. It's easy for them. This guy truly believed that he could sit down and lift this weight. But the difference is, those other guys have spent time exercising their muscles for months and months to be able to lift that amount of weight. And while Mr. Tough Guy expected to lift the same amount of weight without the same amount of work. Here's the thing, no matter how much faith or belief in himself that guy had, because he hadn't spent enough time building up his muscles, he failed. And for us as Christians, it does not matter how much faith you say you have tonight. It does not matter how many times you say all the right Christian words to make your situation sound good. If we are not able to back up our words with our action, then your faith is useless. But for us to experience victory, for us to be able to overcome something, it's going to have to take us stepping out, us doing something we've never done before. It's going to take us going to some places we didn't expect to have to go, and for us to put our faith to work. I seen this quote on Facebook yesterday. It said, hard work pays off later. Laziness pays off now. You see, anyone can say they have faith, but only a select few will actually do the work of faith. I don't know if y'all remember this. There used to be a loan commercial, and I don't even know if it still comes on, but the whole commercial was people sticking their head out like a car or a window saying, "It's my money and I need it now." You know what I remember that? Was I the only one? It was the most annoying commercial ever. I don't know why they kept playing it, but they would. They would say, "It's my money and I need it now," and it was this loan place talking about how you can go and get your money and everything like that. And that's how a lot of us are, you know. It's my problem and I want God to take care of it now. It's this situation, I want God to take of it, to come down and fix it right now. And a lot of us speak as if we have 110% of faith in God and his plans for our life, but we give zero to no effort into seeing his promises and plans come to pass. So it was a Saturday before my birthday, and I woke up with some chest pains. I don't get sick often, but I woke up with some chest pains, and they just got worse throughout the day. And then I'm dumb, and I don't want to go to the doctor, so I'm not going to the doctor. If I'm going to have a heart attack, I'm just going to have a heart attack, and then I'll go. So Saturday, it was just terrible. And then it got better throughout Sunday and Monday. It was fine. And then the next week, still didn't feel 110%. And then Saturday, I woke up, and it went from my left side over to my right side, and it was hurting again. And it was just kept getting worse. And by the time the third week that came around, it was still hurting. I was starting to freak out. 'Cause I'm like, okay, this is obviously a problem. You know, this is obviously something going on. I'm thinking, okay, this is, probably my heart or something. I'm thinking, I already told you, I don't eat right. So I'm thinking, okay, can't be good for sure. And I started having anxiety and worry, which wasn't making the pains any better. And I still didn't want to go to the doctor because I'm stubborn. And I just knew that when I go to the doctor, it was going to be something bad, right? I just knew I could not emotionally handle that because I am an emotionally unstable person. So when I was laying in bed, I think Courtney was asleep, and I prayed, and I started praying, and I was just like, okay, God, look, I'm going to wake up in the morning, and I'm going to be healed. God, when I wake up in the morning, I'm believing the pain is going to be taken away. I'm believing when I wake up, then it's going to be gone. I'm not have to deal with this. It's not going to be a problem. God, I'm believing you to do it. I'm believing you to heal me. And guess what? I woke up the next morning, and it wasn't gone. I was still hurting just as bad, still stressing out over it, and I was like, man, I'm going to have to go to the doctor. I'm just going to have to suck it up and go to the doctor, and whatever happens. I'm just going to prepare for the worst. I know it's just going to be bad. And then it hit me. If I could lay in bed and pray and say, God, I have faith you can heal me, but yet I can't pick myself up and go to the doctor because I'm too scared of what the outcome is going to be. If I believe God could heal me, then going to the doctor should be easy because I can just believe that that's just going to back it up and prove that everything is going to be okay. And sure enough, it did. It was fine. If we believe God will do it, then our actions should prove that we believe he is going to do it. When you take and put action with your faith, it isn't proving God can't do it. It is just proving that you believe he is going to do it for you. There's a 1 Corinthians 10 and 13 says, no temptation has overtaken you except such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation, will he also make a way of an escape, that you will be able to bear it. You see, the reality of it is, God has already worked everything out for you. He has already created an exit door for you. Yeah. He already has created a way out of this situation. The problem is we don't want to go through enough time and trouble to find the way out. Yeah. The problem is we don't want to take the time to find the way out. Yeah. God has made it did not say he would pick you up and just take everything and say, okay, your life's perfect now. He said he created a way of escape, which means you have to find the way out. There is a way out. You just have to find it. There is a way out. Faith without work says if I can't see it, if I can't feel it, then I don't believe it. If I can't see the way out, then, well, you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to stay here. If I don't see my healing yet, well, then I guess God's not going to heal me. But active faith says I may not see it, I may not feel it, but I am going to believe that God has made a way out, and I will move forward. James 1, 2, and 3 says, this is really good. Pastor talked about joy this morning. This says, consider it nothing but joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you fall into various trials. Yeah. I have to say, I've never faced anything and thought, man, I'm so glad this happened to me. Man, this is the worst battle I have ever fought in my life. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing it on. Man, I love it. But then it says, be assured that the testing of your faith through experience produces endurance, leading to spiritual maturity and inner peace. See, the dilemma you face is not a sign of defeat. It is just an obstacle between you and your victory. You see, every trial we face is not to knock us down. Here's a big revelation for you. God didn't create you just to see you fall and die. He didn't put you here just to say, okay, I'm going to watch this guy fail because that's going to be hilarious. That wasn't the case. God put you here with everything in you to succeed in life. And so when you come up, and here's another thing. I'm just full of revelations tonight. Here's another thing. The devil has not thrown anything at you that God does not already know about. And here's the thing. If you really believe that Satan is attacking you, and a lot of times I think it's life, but if you really believe Satan is attacking you tonight, here's the idea. Obviously, God felt you needed to go through this. That's right. Because we can't expect to have strong faith and to do great works if we just sit around and become weak. That's right. But yet every test and every trial is simply making your faith stronger tonight. God knows your breaking point, and he knows everything the devil has thrown at you. He knows every bad thing life has hit you with, and if you're still here, then there is still hope. Yes, there is. Just understand your battles are not meant to defeat you. They're meant to build you up and make you stronger. That's right. You cannot expect to be strong in our faith if we never experience anything that works our faith. But we have to view every battle, every circumstance as just another exercise to build our faith, to make us stronger, to fight harder battles, and to have stronger faith that is building up inside of us. Now, your Bible is full of amazing stories about amazing people. These people, you think you got it bad. The things that people had to go through in the Bible was pretty crazy. David, I think most of us have heard of him. He is popular for killing a giant. David killed a giant. This is a small young man, and he killed this huge giant that everyone else was afraid of. You see, David stood up and killed a giant. Then he walked over and he took a sword out and he cut his head off and finished the job while everyone else was scared. Yeah. There was this guy named Noah who built this really big boat to save his family. But we forget, and that's a great story, and we love to talk about it, but we forget that it actually took Noah years working and building this ark, all while being made fun of, being talked about. He kept working. The three Hebrew boys, created my own word, stood up when everyone else bowed down to a false king. And they proclaimed their faith in God. That is great, but guess what? They also got thrown into a fiery furnace, and God did not show up until they were thrown into it. There's many, many more heroes in your Bible that I could talk about, and almost all of them have one thing in common. They were given a promise of victory, but before they could ever receive that promise, they had to go through a process. You see, it took them stepping out into the unknown. They had to use their strength. They had to use their might. They took their energy. They had to put their efforts into it. God did not magically bring a huge boat big enough for Noah. He had to build it. God didn't just strike down Goliath. David had to stand up and kill him himself. And like the three Hebrew boys, we like to stand up and proclaim, "Oh, we have faith in Jesus." But let the fire get a little warm in our life. let us have to do a little work, well, then that's a different story, isn't it? God, I got faith you're going to bless me financially, but this whole work and everyday thing, it ain't doing it for me. God, I want my relationships to be better, but just don't expect me to admit I was wrong, you know? I'm not approaching them first. But God, I got faith they're going to mend my relationships. God, I'm believing this year I'm going to be healthier and eat right, and I'm going to do what I can, but don't expect me to work out and this whole dieting thing and, just bless my bag of Cheetos. Here's one, God, I want the drama out of my life. I want all of this, but just don't change my friend group. I wasn't expecting any amens tonight. It's okay. I can amen myself. But Luke 10:12 says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." Understand this. If you take anything away from this sermon, please take this. You cannot expect God to do for you what he has already enabled you to do for yourself. Don't expect God to fight your enemies for you when he has already given you power over your enemies. What good is it to have faith in God's power if we don't use the power he's given us? We expect God to heal us, but when's the last time you actually prayed for a healing? We're expecting God to give us better jobs, but yet we quit the last one he blessed us with. We expect God to take all the drama out of our lives, but yet you're still posting about it on Facebook. I'll leave your Facebook alone. I know that's a religion right there. Some of us are waiting for a financial blessing. I know I am. But let's be real for a second. If God blessed us with $1 million right now, a year later, we would be back here in the same place praying, God, I need more money. Because when's the last time you sat down and said, okay, I'm believing God's going to bless me financially. I need to make the proper investments and plans for that money. And here's a good one for you. God, I want to be used by you. I want to be used in your kingdom. I want to have talents like they do. I want to be able to play the instruments like they do. I want to be able to preach like he does. But yet, why would God give us talents and spiritual gifts if the ones he created us with, we're just being lazy with them and sitting around on them? It's true. God has equipped us. He has enabled us. He has qualified us to do amazing things, to conquer the toughest battles, to overcome every circumstance, but we have got to stop dreaming and start doing. Act of faith, when you start to move, that's when you'll see God start to work. When you start to fight, you can be sure that God is fighting right there beside you. When God starts to see your faith, you can expect to see God start to work. It just takes us moving. I wrote this down before service tonight. Some of us are forfeiting battles and wondering why we are walking away with cheap victories. That's good. I'm going to save that one. Y'all may not like it, but I'll post that on Facebook later. But it's true. Some of us tonight are just walking away from every situation, ignoring our problems, and then we're like, man, why not God giving us victory? Why isn't he blessing us? Why isn't he doing this? There's a story in the Bible about a paralyzed man who couldn't get to church himself, so his friends came and brought him to church. And here's the problem. When they got there, the church was too full and they couldn't get in. And for most of us, that's when we would have said, okay, obviously it isn't God's will. If I can't even see Jesus, why should I even make forth an effort? Obviously it wasn't your right timing to get your healing, dude. I'm sorry. We're just going to take you back. Sorry. But these guys decided to do something crazy. And they climbed on top of the roof. They tore apart the roof and then lowered him down into the building so Jesus could heal him. And I don't have the verse with me, but it caught my attention because the very first thing it says is Jesus seeing their faith. Yeah. Jesus seeing their faith. You see, a lot of us, we're wanting a lot of things from God. There's a lot of things we're praying about, but yet we struggle to even come to church sometimes. We're wanting things from Jesus, but we're expecting Jesus to come to us. And the reality is, Jesus is sitting there waiting. He's just saying, you just have to get to me. Right. Whatever you need is here. You just have to get here. Yes. Tell you what, if we can all stand and the musicians would come back. I don't want this to make it sound like a sermon that is just getting on to you by any means. But here's the reality is we all are met with a choice. It could be tonight when you lay down. Could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be next month. But we're going to have to make a choice at some point in time and say, okay, am I going to choose to ignore this? Am I going to choose to look over this? Am I going to just choose to sit here and cry and be depressed and just say, well, it's not God's will? Am I going to choose to just say, okay, you know what, this battle's too hard. I'm just going to throw everything down and say, okay, you win this one, and I'll try harder next time? Or are we going to choose to pick up the sword and start to fight? Are we going to choose to start making the right decisions? Or are we going to go throughout our week and say, you know what, today might be bad, but I can make the right changes throughout my day to make it better. That's right. I may feel weak, but I know once I start making the right changes, it might be uncomfortable. It might be hard work sometimes. It might cause me to sweat, God forbid. But you know what? I'm going to make the changes in the end so I can have the victory and the promise God has given me. Let's lift our voices in prayer real quick. Jesus, I believe you have truly spoken to people tonight, God, and I'm believing, God, that you have inspired people to make a change in their life. God, we don't want to just continue through the motions, having to fight the same battles, having to go through the same problems. But God, we believe that you have given us an active faith, a faith that is no good if we just sit on it, but a faith that if we have to get up and start moving. God, you have made a way of escape for us. No matter what problem we're facing, no matter what we're going through, we know you have made a way out for us, and we give you all the thanks, God, in Jesus' name. I'm going to invite anyone that will to make your way to the altar. We're going to spend our time in prayer. And I just want us to ask God to activate that faith in us, to give us a boldness to stand up and say, you know what, it does not have to stay the way it's always been, but there can be changes in my life. If we could, let's find ourselves a place to pray around the front tonight.